It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US makes studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
And then Peter Sousa. He had a quick story to tell you about these guys. Peter Sousa.
Live from high atop Central Texas, it's the Pete Sousa Show, presented by the Rogue Media Network.
Well, hello there. The Pete Sousa Show. We are live in Flower Mound today, and couldn't be happier to be with you on one of those exciting weekends in sports where it seems like everywhere you turn, there's drama. Like even right now, I got the 4-screen going on the YouTube TV, and I got my man Stephen A, right, talking about NFL and college football coming up this weekend. I got the Ryder Cup on live, right? Then I got MLB Network talking about the Tigers collapse, which we're going to start with. And then in the lower left-hand corner, I have The View. And I promise that it's not by design, but I don't exactly know how to rearrange stuff on the fly. And there's one woman on The View who I think I like, the one with the long dark hair. Anyways, let's ride on here. We really want to thank Slovacics, right? A big weekend for Slovacics, of course. Even though Baylor is on the road, you got people going back and forth on I-35. Making college football games, making high school football games hopefully making it over to Slovacic's. No other way to go. If you're looking to put something in your belly, get a little gas and get some vibes, man, I'm telling you. And when I say gas, I mean fill up gas. You know, none of you wise guys out there. Nobody wants to hear that. We have Tom Silverstein today, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, legendary Packers beat writer. Obviously on the cusp of Dallas and Green Bay playing Sunday night at AT&T Stadium. That is a huge get. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Tom, not only about Micah Parsons heading back to Dallas, where he still has control and ownership of his suite, but we also get to talk to Tom about what's going on exactly with Jordan Love, how the Packers slipped up last week against Cleveland and disappointed some of the folks who maybe had put a couple shekels on them. I don't know who that, maybe it was this guy here. I don't know. But yeah, a lot to talk to Tom about, and also a lot for me to remind you about as far as Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers is concerned, and also Socorro Family Ford. Socorro Family Ford keeping us on the road. Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers taking care of us if something happens to us on the road, right? And of course, Crawford Austin Properties, First National Bank of Central Texas, Underdog Fantasy Sports. Thank you so much. All right, let's get started. The Tigers were up 9.5 games with 16 to play. And I don't like sit here and talk about baseball every day. The Phillies obviously are my team. I love baseball jerseys. I'm more a product of, you know, This Week in Baseball, Mel Allen, 1980s into the 90s, right? Vin Scully, Joe Garagiola, Bob Costas and Greg Kubek or Gary Kubek. You know, those are my like hardcore memories of Major League Baseball. And some of those memories include collapses. And I can remember as a kid, you know, the one collapse that really speaks to me, and it happened a couple times to the same man, actually, and it was really unfortunate. Gene Mauch, Hall of Fame baseball manager, right? A brilliant manager. Unfortunately for him, he was on the wrong end of like epic collapses over and over again. In 1964, that was the big one. Growing up as a Phillies fan, they were up 6.5 games with 12 to play and more, right? More than that, leading up to that final stretch where the Phillies just completely broke down, right? They let it go through their fingertips. Mauch is kind of labeled a little bit of a choke artist. And then it gets worse. In 1982, he's managing the Angels. They blow a 2-game lead to the Brewers. The Brewers eventually beat them, and then the Brewers win the World Series. No, did they lose? They lost to St. Louis, Keith Hernandez in St. Louis in 1982. Then in 86, the one that I remember, of course, this leads into the Red Sox, who had a mini collapse, or it wasn't even a collapse so much as it was just like an epic choke job because it happened so fast. And that's why I find these pennant race collapses so interesting, because they happen so slowly in front of us. But in 86, Gene Mauch and the Angels were one strike away, right, from going to the World Series. And of course, the home run is hit by Dave Henderson. The Sox finish off that game and then win another. That was game 6. And ultimately, and I remember that as a kid, because that was, when Dave Henderson hit that home run against Donnie Moore, who subsequently took his life. He had injury problems and drug problems, but also obviously had mental health problems. And that game, right, that situation where he gave up that home run to Dave Henderson and the Red Sox, like, certainly didn't help. And, that's a tragic ending to a collapse, right? But I just find the psychology of this so interesting, so compelling, and honestly, so scary. When you look at the Tigers, what's happening to them now, they have a 3-game series against Boston, right? They've lost control of a head-to-head with the Cleveland Guardians. And so if they're unable to sweep the Red Sox, even if they sweep the Red Sox and Cleveland, I forget who they're playing, but Cleveland were to sweep, like, the Tigers lose the division, a division they've had a stranglehold on for more than, 6-8 weeks, dating back earlier than that. And, the Tigers are in quicksand right now. And, when you talk about the Red Sox, of course, people remember their epic collapse in 78. I was thinking about some other epic collapses. 78 was the Bucky Dent year. Other epic collapses. I mean, if you want to go single games, right? The Falcons and the Patriots, 28-3. I'd never seen anything like that in my lifetime. Of course, the Red Sox and the Mets in 86. That one is up there. But those are just games. The long-term just dismantling of a team's morale in Major League Baseball is it's one of the few things that I still find really interesting and really unique about Major League Baseball. And that's just me. I know baseball is an amazing sport. As a kid, I couldn't get enough of it. I don't know if I've just gotten too ADD or I really don't know. I will be watching the Phillies once the playoffs start. There's no question about that. I'll be watching Major League Baseball all throughout the playoffs. And by the way, towards the end of our show, we're going to have Nick Picht on today. And nobody knows Major League Baseball like Nick. Nick is our own baseball insider. Scotty, I want to bring you up real quick. I know you're tired this morning, but we did talk about epic collapses. Do you have an epic collapse that comes top of mind?
Okay, first of all, you don't have to tell the whole world I'm tired. I'm here doing my job. Okay.
You're tired. I don't want to
I'm having a great time, Pete. I'm very thrilled to be with you this morning.
By the way, look at me. So I'm doing the Livy Dunn. I'm doing the Livy Dunn, and I'm not pitting out yet, but I will be soon.
Let me put on these headphones so I can hear you and hope there's
yeah. Has anybody seen the Lily Dunn picture on social media? Livy Dunn, where she's like kind of pitting out.
You sent this to me, actually.
She's a human being like the rest of us. Good for you, Livy Dunn. I love you. And Scotty says she doesn't use antiperspirant, and he doesn't either because aluminum's bad for you.
Yeah, use deodorant, not antiperspirant. It's better for you. Don't know how we got into that. You asked me about historical collapses and then accused me of being too tired to perform on your show. I'm ready to go, Pete. I'm always ready to go. I'm going to tell you there's two in my mind. They both break me. I may throw up after speaking about them. One, Cotton Bowl 2014. That was my senior year. Baylor was the first team out of the inaugural college football playoff, ranked number 5 in those rankings. Felt gypped, felt unfairly left out, that one-loss Baylor team. Went into that Cotton Bowl against Michigan State. Went up by, I don't remember if it was 21 or 24. It might have been 24. On a touchdown pass, the first touchdown pass ever to 400-plus pounds Laquan McGowan, almost as an insult, to put a stamp on what I thought was a sure victory over Michigan State, and then lost in the next 11 minutes of that fourth quarter. And I was there, and it hurt. Okay. But even more disappointing than that, I stopped watching baseball over the most historical collapse that I remember.
Tell me.
I was a freshman. It was 2011. Pete, did you know?
Oh, I know what we're talking about. Pete, this was right before I went to rehab, dude, so I kind of barely remember that. This is like a week or two before.
Pete, do you know that baseball was my favorite sport in elementary school?
Well, me too.
It was.
Yeah.
It was my favorite sport.
Yeah.
Pete, I don't think I have watched a Major League Baseball game from start to finish since 2011 because my Texas Rangers, who were my favorite professional sports team until 2011, went to the World Series for a second consecutive year. And, year one, 2010, you get there, you get pulverized. You feel good to be there. The Giants deserve to win that 2010 World Series. You just feel good that you were there. Lost in 5 games. Pete, in 2011 against the St. Louis Cardinals, the Texas Rangers were not 1 inning away. We're not 1 out away. We're 1 strike away from winning the World Series. Not once, but twice. And I was in the lobby at Penland Dorm because visiting hours were over and we couldn't have girls in our room. So we were all in the lobby watching this baseball game. Packed house, cheering loud for the Texas Rangers. And I have never been so defeated in my life than the Rangers being 1 strike away twice. And I swore off baseball forever, and I have not watched a full Major League Baseball game since. Not even, I'm dead serious. Not even when the Rangers won the World Series 2 years ago. I watched snippets of some of those games, but I couldn't. That collapse so hurt me, so devastated me. I swore off the sport.
I love it. I mean, I don't love it. It's a shame that is what did it for you. I mean,
I can't enjoy it anymore, man. I can't enjoy it anymore. It was so.
Well, I mean, but your team came back and won a World Series. I would think that would quench the thirst.
12 years later. Yeah, 12 years later, none of the same players that I had affection for.
My man Josh Hamilton.
Josh Hamilton. That was a great roster, man. Freaking CJ Wilson. Dude, CJ Wilson, when that dude was dealing, was the most underrated pitcher in baseball. That dude was insane.
I can tell you this. You mentioned those two teams. They went through the Phillies, both of those teams. The Giants did in 2010 and St. Louis did in 2011. So, they left us on the tarmac, like USC did to Lane Kiffin. Which, by the way, you still got to watch that. It's so good. It's so good.
I do. I need to watch
that ESPN doc had such a profound effect on me this morning. I'm watching SportsCenter, and they're talking about the matchups this weekend. LSU and Ole Miss seems like a great one. And I'm like, God, I hope Ole Miss wins. I've never, ever thought that in my life.
Oh, you're rooting for them now.
Yeah, it's a PR deal. By the way, Bear the Truth. Yep. Good for you. Cubbies clinch a wild card. So here's the one thing. And again, Nick Picht will take us through this when we talk Major League Baseball. But there's a lot of, I love the players now that are headed into the postseason in Major League Baseball. And when you get the Cubs, when you get the Phillies, when you get the Yankees, when you get the Dodgers, it's a lot of fun. So the Dodgers are in it, right? They got to be. I mean, that's how ignorant I am, and that's why I need Nick's help. To be honest, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm Peter Gammons. What I am going to do is be truthful and tell you I can't wait to talk to Tom Silverstein. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Tom about a huge game on Sunday night and a huge return. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovaceks. If you're going to that game Sunday night, you're going to stop at Slovaceks first, and you're going to say what's up to Ray. We'll say what's up to Tom Silverstein on the other side of this break.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
And we are back. Still waiting on Tom Silverstein, the great Tom Silverstein. We will get him soon. Scotty said he is texting. Scotty, when you say we will get him soon, does that mean like today? Or does it mean like soon? Like, oh, here he is. Okay. All right. Give him a second to get all set up because we know Tom is very handsome. He doesn't need much help, but I do see that he has joined us here. And there is plenty to talk to the great Tom Silverstein about, especially when you look not only at the Packers and what they're dealing with as a team with the high expectations and early success, but a hiccup last year on the road with the Browns, last week, excuse me. And there is a lot to talk about. One of the things that I think gets overshadowed in a moment like this, because we are so fixated on the return of Micah Parsons to Dallas, getting lost in the shuffle, I think, is Kenny Clark and his return, his opportunity to play against the team that he played for since he was a kid, basically. Kenny Clark began his career in Green Bay and was seriously wet behind the ears. And it's going to be pretty cool to see how he does against his former team. Of course, there's a lot going on with Jordan Love, too. That's always a huge topic, and very curious to see what Tom thinks about his ability, right? And how he has done, as far as sometimes it's been a bumpy ride, but other times he has been absolutely a joy to watch for Packers fans. And let me check this out. I haven't looked at this yet. I want to get this number quick here. So Sunday night, Green Bay's a 6.5-point favorite on the road. That tells you a lot about where the Cowboys are right now. And we are very lucky to welcome in the great Tom Silverstein of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Tom, I've been reading you forever. Thank you so much for joining us today. It means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to Cowboys fans to get some intel before this huge game Sunday night.
Sure. Over the years, I've covered the team so long that I used to come to Dallas almost every year because the Packers would play there. It was like, I can't remember how many straight times it was in the 90s where they kept having to go to Dallas, both regular season and playoffs. And I always felt like I was part of the Dallas media because I was there so often. So I'm very comfortable talking to your listenership.
Well, look, you brought it up, so I got to go there. That was such a special time, late 90s, or early 90s into the late 90s. Cowboys, Packers, Brett Favre, John Madden, Pat Summerall, right? Mike Holmgren, the whole deal, whether it was Jimmy Johnson or Barry Switzer. What are your memories from those, clashes of two NFL titans, right? As Green Bay was really emerging and Dallas may have been somewhat tailing off. Your experience covering those matchups.
Yeah, so it really started in 93. Um, the Packers won this miracle game in Detroit on the last second on a Favre's pass to
The
Sterling
wild
Sharp.
card game, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then they played the Cowboys and got their butts kicked. And then 94, I believe the same thing happened. And then 95, they upset San Francisco, and then they played Dallas in the NFC Championship game. And I've always wanted to write a book just about that game because there was so much interesting stuff that happened in that game. It was really a phenomenal game, and it was the start of the Packers taking their first big step. They didn't win, but they kind of went toe to toe with the Cowboys. And then the following year, they won the Super Bowl. But there were so many interesting things in that game. Dion played wide receiver in that game. Um, One of the Packers coaches suffered a fractured skull in that game. He got hurt. He got hit on the sidelines
Who
by a
was that?
player in the game.
You
Was
remember?
Gil Haskell was his name.
Wow.
And the game was like interrupted for like 20 minutes. And it was like Mike Holmgren's best friend in the whole world. And, I think he was, it was very serious. Um, I may be blending ones together, but I think that there was John Yurkovich was all mad that Eric Williams had cut him at the knees. I mean, there's just so
I do
much stuff
remember that.
that
Yes.
went on, and I believe I may be blending these games together, but it was really a fascinating time, and Dallas was just a powerhouse. Nobody, you knew you had to get through Dallas, and the Packers couldn't. And it didn't happen until 96, and then Dallas lost in the playoffs, so they never got the chance to beat them again. They finally faced them in 97 and Green Bay and beat them, but yeah,
Well,
it was an
you
interesting
mentioned
time.
it. That was. I don't know that we get to see it as much now as we did then. Sort of the unseating, right, of the great teams. Like we saw it in basketball with the Bulls and Detroit, and we saw it in the NFL. Like you're talking about, the Packers didn't exact specific retribution against the Cowboys, but it was clear. They battled them, and then finally they were able to reach the mountaintop. That was a special time, and you said you can blend them all together. That's a delightful smoothie to taste, right? You throw all those in a blender, I got no problem. I want to bring it to present day. Obviously, it was way different. I'm a Philly guy, right? Grew up in Philadelphia. Heartbroken when Reggie left and was a free agent, went to Green Bay, but also he had become such a part of the fabric of Philadelphia and such a good man. Like you sort of rooted for him, so you wanted to see him win that Super Bowl. Much different situation as far as the transaction is concerned. But Micah Parsons now with the Cowboys, you got a chance to see Reggie come to Green Bay and help them get over that hump to win a Super Bowl. And you're seeing Micah now in Green Bay. Same, not exact type player, but a pass rusher was important then, very important now, and can change the way a team has to prepare for you and the way your defense plays. Any similarities there or anything you draw, like sort of the similarities where you see that shaping up to be, certainly like matched right up against one another?
It's a great question. I wrote an entire column on it when the trade happened, or a few days after, and there's some really significant parts of it that make it different. And the biggest one is that when Reggie came, the Packers were not that good. They had come off 20 years of pretty much ineptitude. And they had finally kind of broken through a little bit in 92. They didn't make the playoffs, but they had a winning season, and they had Mike Holmgren, and they had Ron Wolf, and you could kind of tell that they had something that might be going there. But Reggie was brought in to be the foundation. So once he got there, he was not surrounded by a lot of great players. They were starting to get, Leroy Butler was on that team. But they didn't have Sean Jones. They didn't have Santana Dotson. Gilbert Brown was just like an undrafted free agent. A lot of those guys came later. So he built the foundation. He sort of made it okay to come to Green Bay because Green Bay was really it was a terrible place for a minority athlete, African American athlete to come to. I mean, it was totally white town, very kind of backwards. And Reggie, he made his residence there, and they built up the facilities, and he made it okay to come there. And that changed everything after that. Of course, with Favre too. Favre made a huge difference as well. Reggie wasn't the only guy, but the difference with Micah is that they're pretty established. He's the final piece of the puzzle. He's not the foundation, He's like, okay, we baked the cake. Now he's going to be that frosting, and he's the one who's going to push them over the top. So that was the biggest difference in my mind between those two acquisitions.
Now, heading into this game, I always, you're old school, and I'm sure you know the name Jimmy Breslin, right? The old school newspaper guy out of New York City. And Breslin, I loved his quote, like he was the guy who wrote the story on the man who dug JFK's grave,
Yep,
right? And
that's what I remember him as. Yeah.
Yes, and his theory was like, the big story is almost maybe it's in the loser's locker room, right? Like it's some place where not everybody is headed. Micah Parsons coming back to Dallas. Has there been a thread that you have identified that is sort of unique in a sense that no one else has really hit on it yet? Or maybe it's a feeling you have or a vibe from having covered this team in this game for so long that is different about this young man coming back to Dallas after a messy breakup?
Yeah. What I really think it is, there's a couple of things that go through my mind. Number one is that they have not even scraped the surface of figuring out what he does best and how to use them. And so, in fact, I was asking the defensive coordinator about that on Thursday, and he was telling me like, well, there's a play, there's a rush they have, sort of a stunt kind of thing, where they set it up for Parsons, and he was so quick to the ball that it ruined the whole thing. And they were like, oh, we can't run that anymore because he's too fast off the ball. So they're learning what Micah Parsons can do for them within their system. And I think when he comes to Dallas, it's going to be more of him doing one-on-one stuff, of him trying to break through double teams. If they were to play Dallas in week 16, I think he'd be a completely different player. He'd be used completely differently than he will be there. As for coming to Dallas, his biggest impact, besides the fact it takes two guys to block him, is that he's really brought kind of a aggressive attitude to the defense. They were trying to build that, bring it up, but they've sort of given everybody a chance to go, well, there's going to be pressure on the quarterback almost every down. And so now I can play a different way. And I think you see them playing a different way than they were last year, where they were kind of sat back in zones and just tried to keep the deep ball away from people.
So it's not just the attitude, right? It's the overall mentality, which is pretty specific and pretty important for a defensive unit.
Yeah. And, I don't know how long it will last. Maybe it will last forever, but he's playing with his hair on fire. And, the first three games, I had watched him. I watched almost every game last year with the Cowboys. And, I noticed a lot of times where he was standing around after, a play was run to the opposite side, where maybe it was because that's how Zimmer's defense was or whatever. But right now he's just going after everything. And I don't know if he'll look different to Cowboys fans when they see him, but he's playing, a jillion miles an hour every play. And, usually your superstars don't play that way. They just don't. There aren't that many guys who play that way. And I don't know how long that will last, but it's really having an impact on the Packers defense right now.
Yo, question for you. Did you go back and watch all the games after he was traded for? Or had you already watched?
No, after he's traded, I wanted to see how Zimmer was using him. Because I knew that Dan Quinn had used him differently, had moved him around and put him at linebacker. So I wanted to see what he was like last year. Now, I know some of these games he probably was still nursing that ankle, and maybe that was part of the reason why he wasn't going 100 miles an hour always. But I was very curious to see how they used him. And I thought, I asked him in his press conference, do you want to be used more like you were in Quinn's system or in Zimmer's system? And he went on for 10 minutes about how he wants to be moved around and not kept in one place.
It's cool, dude. I asked you that question because I think that just speaks to why you're so successful and why you've been such a joy to read over these years. So a couple more questions for you. I know you got stuff to do today as you're on the cusp of covering a big game. Kenny Clark, an opportunity to play against his old team. And I think that gets somewhat overshadowed or lost in the sauce. He was a guy, if you talk to people around the Packers organization, you guys watched him grow up, whether you're a member of the media or in the front office over there, player, coach, whatever. What do you think his impact will be on Sunday night?
Well, I told one of the Cowboys PR people when I was requesting an interview for him that by far, since he's been with the team, he's been my favorite player to deal with.
Really?
Because he's such a good human being. Now, usually I don't make that assessment on players because you never know what's going on behind the scenes. You think a guy, you're only seeing him in the locker room.
Yeah.
But Kenny Clark, everything you heard from everybody, his background, he came to the Packers when he's 20 years old, and he's just a delight to deal with. And the players just respect the hell out of him. I've been a big defender of his in the last couple of years. People have been a little critical, like he hasn't made enough big plays or he hasn't gotten after the quarterback or sacked the quarterback. But I think that's all a bunch of bull because he gets pressures. He doesn't always get to the quarterback, but he pressures up the middle. And almost every team that faces him, one of the first things they decide is how they're going to block him. And the other thing is that he kind of was played out of position the last 2 years because they had this 330-pound guy that wanted to get on the field, TJ Slayton. And so they moved Clark to sort of three technique and somewhat of an end, and sometimes he played the nose. But when you line him up over the nose, there's hardly a center that can block him one-on-one. And he disrupts in the run and pass game. And he's 30 years old. He's not the player he was 3 years ago, but I still think there's a lot left in his tank. And if you are building a run defense, you want to build it around him. That's for sure.
I would urge people to read your story, right? I think it was 2 days ago in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel about Ellington and how he's a center now and he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with his old teammate. Pretty cool there. One more Micah thing before I ask you about Jordan Love, and then we'll get you out of here. How has Micah been with the media?
Good. Now, I'll never forget. So I don't know if you remember that game up in Green Bay when they beat McCarthy and Christian Watson just went off.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like his first big game for the Packers. And I'll never forget, I decided I'm going to go into the Cowboys locker room and see if anybody even knew who Christian Watson was.
It's the Jimmy Breslin, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember asking Parsons about it, and he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I have him on my Madden team, He's like, kills it for me, And I was like, that was a good answer. That's pretty funny. I could tell there was something a little different about him that, he's not going to give you the typical, play 110% and give it your all. So I think he's been pretty interesting. I haven't really had a chance to ask him too many questions, but I think he's been good. And, he's had to spend a lot of time catching up to learn the defense. And so, we don't see him around a lot, but they make him available once a week and after games, and he's been fine.
So Jordan Love last week against the Browns, was that a hiccup, or is that who this guy is? Like, is he someone who you believe in your years of covering the NFL has what it takes to lead the Packers to a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl victory?
Well, I thought so. I had to rank the Packers roster 1 through 53, and I was just racking my brain trying to decide whether to go with Love or Parsons. And I finally went with Love because I thought this was going to be the year that he kind of takes it up. He's got the talent, he's got the brains, he's got the mobility. It's there, but it doesn't always show itself, and it didn't show itself against Cleveland. Now, there were protection issues that were at work, he was just getting slammed. The whole game. But in the clutch, 3rd and 3, the last thing you can do with 3 minutes left is throw an interception in your own territory. And he did. And to me, we'll find out whether that's a hiccup. That's like a red flag. But let's see whether that was a hiccup or whether that was something we'll see more often. I think this is a real defining year for him.
Dude, I think this is a defining game. That's a great point you make. What happens to us in life is one thing, how we react to it, right? And how does he handle all this? It's going to be a lot of fun. Tom, man, I know you're a busy guy. You're a legend. I thank you so much, man. It was a real treat to talk to you one-on-one and to pick your brain about some of this stuff. You, of course, can read Tom in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and the podcast. What's the podcast again?
It's called Green 19 Podcast. If you listen to it, you'll hear why it's called Green 19. So.
All right. Tom, man, thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure anytime.
All right. Thanks a lot. There he goes. Tom Silverstein. He has said it all, man. That was what a treasure, dude. That's a lot of fun. You can tell that gets me sort of giddy when you get to talk to someone like that who has, seen all the battles, right? Has battle scars of his own, walking into locker rooms, covering these teams for the better part of 30 plus years. And I am not here to dole out lessons to young journalists, but like the fact that he went back and watched all those Micah games, like it ain't all hot takes and podcasts like, fire, dude. That is a real journalist. And that is why the dude is so good. All right, the Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovaceks will step aside. We're talking Major League Baseball when we come back. We don't do that too often. I call football and basketball games. I call college baseball for the Big 12, but I'm looking forward to talking to Nick Picht about Major League Baseball. The Pete Sousa Show on the Rogue Media Network presented by Slovaceks. Back after this.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Polo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Sousa to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Sousa. That's S-O-U-S-A. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Oxygen for Scotty. You know what we do? We stick Scotty in a room with an 8-ball, let him get all keyed up, and then we say, all right, we need you to read this real fast. And he produces every time. By the way, that's a joke. Mr. Swingler is drug-free. All right, one more point I want to make before we bring in Nick Picht, because on the heels of the Underdog Fantasy ad, I have a low-key I got a big-time trap game this weekend in the Big 12, and I think if I was someone who would wager, I think I know where I would put my money in this game. So I'm going to share it with you. Colorado at home, Saturday night on ESPN against 25th ranked BYU. The table is set for Colorado to win that football game and most certainly cover. Bear Bachmeier, a freshman, that environment as a quarterback, I think could be staggering for him early on in the game. And I think if Colorado can get out in front, right, even by 7 or 10 or 14, now you've got a BYU team that has relied on LJ Martin and running the football all year long. And now they got to look to a freshman quarterback to bring them back. in the face of that Folsom Field madhouse, and I said it to Jay Catch yesterday, those kids from BYU, they're going to be smelling all kinds of stuff they've never smelt before, right? At Folsom Field. Coach Prime talks about that. And I do think the Caden Salter mobile, right, that sports car has left the garage. We saw it last week, a couple big-time explosive plays. And I think Colorado is primed, no pun intended, for a possible upset and a cover, right? 6.5 points at home. That is a lot. And I think Colorado has actually gotten better on like the interior and stuff. I just think that's a game to keep an eye on. All right. Do we want to bring Nick Picht in now? Let's bring him in now. But I got to do something for him. Hold on. Just bring him in. Hey, Nick, hang on, buddy.
Okay. You got it.
I got to get ready for you because
oh my God, do not. I know.
And not my fills, dude.
Oh my God, stop.
You
talking about
make the dream work.
Oh my God, dude.
Let's go, Mets. All right, so let's. Hey, Nick, man, how we doing, buddy?
Dude, thank God that's not a Cal Raleigh jersey. That's all I'll say.
Dude, forget about
because we're gonna have a virtual fist fight if that was a Cal Raleigh jersey.
So Nick is our Major League Baseball expert. Honestly, as this show has ascended, we still have not brought anyone else in to talk about Major League Baseball.
Dude, you got some A-listers lately, huh? I've been keeping tabs. My boy's
you and
busy.
Everyone else, man. I mean, you're part of this rocket ship. Okay, so. Yes. I know you're a busy guy, but I want to get your thoughts for real on the Major League Baseball postseason. I opened the show, I never do this, talking about Major League Baseball and the Tigers collapse.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that's a super interesting storyline right now. But what is your number one storyline as we get set to head into the postseason weekend of the regular season, right?
The number one storyline has to be the MVP race in the American League because that's literally all anybody talks about. But if you want to actually talk ball, there are three. What happens with the Yankees and the Blue Jays for American League East? Who wins the division? Who wins the wild card? What happens in the last National League wild card among the Mets, the Reds, and the Diamondbacks? And then does Detroit actually collapse? And what happens with the Guardians?
The actually collapse is like their backs are against the wall, right? The Tigers are because they play the Red Sox. Even if they sweep, if the Guardians sweep, they're tied and the Guardians win the division.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah, those are the three big things.
All right, let's get into the MVP race. You're certainly passionate about this as a Yankees guy.
Yeah.
I think you challenged me to a fight earlier over the phone. So I'm curious now that we're here together, what's your mindset there and why is the fire burning so bright inside your belly?
I just think it's crazy, dude. I think the storyline people, I think I texted you the storyline slurpers. It's crazy. Just the number of people whose actual argument for MVP is just like, well, this is a good story for a catcher. Like that to me is just not an argument at all. There's nothing about that that's an argument. The only like everything that Aaron Judge has done this year is better than Cal Raleigh, except hitting homers. That's literally like it's just so insane. It's so insane to me how the storyline of this guy has done it as a catcher is a good story, has like overcome actually smart people. Like I've been watching MLB Tonight for the past 5 days because I think the playoffs has just been super fun. I've been dialed in every night, every single night. They're talking about why Raleigh is the MVP, and the only argument anybody can give is just like we've not seen this from a catcher before.
Well, hold on, Nick.
But that's not an argument.
There's a reason we've not seen that from a catcher because the position is so difficult to play that guys spend their whole life figuring out how to catch a certain pitcher, to catch pitchers, how to play defense. Like it is a very unique situation and a very special situation that you have a catcher. And it's not like he's having like a lukewarm season at the plate, dude. The guy is having a historic year.
In what regard is he having an historic year? By hitting home runs. That's it. Literally, that's it.
Okay,
by hitting home runs.
Other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? I mean, that's a huge deal. What's that?
that would be my information to back up my point. Are you ready?
All right, let's go. Let it rip.
Aaron Judge has broken the record for intentional walks with 36 this year, broken the American League record for intentional walks, which don't count towards your WAR. So there you go. Currently at 9.2 WAR. What if he has half of those? Or what if all of those walks are regular walks? You know what I mean? So there you go. There's the first thing. Judge leads the league in batting average at 330. Not only is the only player in Major League Baseball hitting 330, he's the only player in Major League Baseball hitting over 315. Pretty good. If that stands, which it likely will, he will be only the third player ever to win the batting title and hit 50 homers in the same season. The only two other guys who have done that, Mantle and Jimmy Fox. Okay, so the catcher is harder debate, right? WAR already bakes that into the number, and Judge is still, I think, 1.5 points, maybe. You have to double check me on that. I don't know what the exact WAR numbers are.
I'll take your word for it.
WAR bakes that in, and Judge is already higher than Raleigh, even with the injury and with the designated hitter thing that he had to come back and do. Yeah. There you go. The number one thing that I think turns is a hammer home point for Aaron Judge to win the MVP. Aaron Judge's OPS is 1140. Cal Raleigh's is 954. So Cal Raleigh, if you lower Judge's OPS by 186 points, he is Cal Raleigh, right? That's the calculation. If you lowered Cal Raleigh's OPS by 186 points, his OPS goes from 954 to 768, which brings him to the same number OPS as Brandon Nimmo. Aaron Judge is the MVP.
All right, look. That is a very, very strong argument, and I'm not going to refute it. I already told you my point on what I think. I look, if Judge were to win MVP, I simply am not going to sit here and say I know enough. I know baseball history better than I know present day, so I will take your word for it, even though you're a Yankee apologist. But when the Yankees suck, you climb all over them. And look, you know this stuff really well, and you have a great feel for the history of the game. So
I'll tell you this too. You want to talk about history? I'll tell you this too. Yeah, Raleigh is having an amazing season. Truly, he is. I think Raleigh right now stands to have the fourth highest WAR. If he were to win the MVP, right? If he were to win the MVP award, he would have the fourth highest OPS of any catcher to win the MVP. The highest is Mauer in 09 at over 1 dot. Campanella in 53 had over 1 dot. And I think Posey beat him in 12 by like 4 percentage points. I think it's 958 to Raleigh's 954. So, there have been other catchers that have won the MVP, Johnny Bench, Yogi Berra, Elson Howard, Thurman Munson, who have all had like lower.
Carter should have won in '86 when Mike Schmidt won. But go ahead.
And they've all had lower OPSs than Raleigh. So like, he is having an amazing season, especially for a catcher. I just think that if you're going to compare it to something, I think a great comparison would be Posey.
Okay.
And Posey had a 958. Posey won, I think, the Gold Glove that year. All these things. And the Giants won the World Series in 12 when Posey won the MVP. Okay. The guy in second was Ryan Braun. And you're going to say for a catcher, this is great. Ryan Braun finished second and his OPS was only 987. So that's a pretty good comparison, but Judge is just he's in a different universe as every other player.
Well, then that's a very good point, because we're talking about the absolute best in Major League Baseball, not this is an amazing special season, right? Like you said, the storyline stuff. So I do sort of side with you there. But a couple questions about why exactly this is happening. The movement, right, behind a catcher winning MVP. Is this a situation where, Michael Jordan doesn't win the MVP, Karl Malone does, right? It's just like there's fatigue around the Yankees and Aaron Judge, and here's Major League Baseball trying to shine a light on why this sport is wonderful this year. And is it also, people that think they're purists that actually aren't purists? They're just trying to sound smart, right?
I don't know, because I'm a Yankee.
Do this.
Right. The Yankee fan in me too is like, I get pissed because the same thing happened to Judge in 17. Like Altuve, quote unquote, stole the MVP from Judge in 17. which should have never happened, in my opinion. So like now here he will be to get it stolen from him again. And if you want to make the same argument, it's just so funny how the narrative is so different about someone like Shohei Ohtani in the National League. Because come on, Pete, you Philly guy, there's a conceivable argument to be had that Schwarber is the National League MVP.
Oh, dude.
Right. But Schwarber's a DH and Schwarber don't do this and Schwarber don't do that. But like, it kind of seems to me like Judge and Raleigh just in the other league. Like, why? Why is it the other way? Because the media is so obsessed with Ohtani. It's crazy talk how obsessed with Ohtani they are. Not that it's not deserved and he's not amazing, but like, God, it is like, it's insufferable the way that Ohtani is covered. As somebody who's not a Dodger fan, as somebody who like doesn't really care about the Dodgers, like, I don't know, man.
Let me ask you a couple more. Because what time you got a meeting coming up soon?
No. Actually, it got canceled, so I'm straight.
Okay, cool. So I can do like a little
we do whatever you want.
Baseball and some other topics. How is the overall health of Major League Baseball right now?
I think it's pretty good, man. I mean, like the Raleigh thing, all things considered, okay, let me tell you a couple things, right? The AL Central, which is always fun, like America's Heartland division, is like down to the wire. We've got the American League East down to the wire, the Yankees, which everybody talks about, loves talking about. We've got a guy who's challenging the best player we may have ever seen for the MVP award in the American League. We've got a Shohei Ohtani back on the mound, throwing hard, throwing well, looks good. Dodgers, and we've got the Mariners who've won their division for the first time since 2001. I mean, 25 years. That's pretty sick. Cool. The Brewers might break their all-time record for wins in any season. I think they have to win one more game to break their all-time season win total record. That's pretty cool. I mean, I think the only thing that would really make this season a slam dunk is if somehow the Cardinals were still good and like actually making a playoff push.
Okay.
Because America loves the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are, they're a historic team. I mean, also if the Mets blow this, that is wild. But I just think storylines are good. Super good players playing well all at the right time. I don't think there's any dominant team that's going to like run the table. I think the playoffs will be super fun, competitive. And I think the World Series winner will feel like they earned it for sure. It'll be cool. Yeah.
What about Ohtani pitching into the postseason? Like is that something that's like realistic? Like that
yeah, why not?
So, well, why not? Because we've never seen it before. Like, will he take the ball and like be pitching in a huge moment in the World Series this year? Because I believe that will be something that, somebody from 30,000 feet, right? Major League Baseball.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
What a story that is, right?
Yeah, I mean, imagine the guy hits a homer and then closes out a World Series game, right? I mean, it'd be sick, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one thing about that is that a lot of people don't really know, like casuals don't really know, is that the Dodgers bullpen is kind of like in deep shit. Like the Dodgers bullpen is in bad shape right now. They have guys who aren't pitching well. They have guys that are hurt. They have guys that can't really string it together. They're lucky to have won the West with everything that's gone on with them all year. But what if Ohtani starts closing games? I think that's pretty likely. I mean, you have enough starting pitching, I think, in LA to really consider whether Ohtani is best served as your closer. And we kind of talked about this, I think you and I did, and a bunch of other people have talked about this. Like, maybe that is where he's best suited long term, because I don't know if his arm can handle 100, 150 innings. I just think it's probably unlikely at this stage of the game, but can he pitch maybe 50 or 60 every year? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. What about when you look at the playoff race as we get set for the postseason? What surprises you about the race right now, right? Like what has shocked you as far as, look, Donald Trump's at the Ryder Cup. He just stopped.
Oh my God.
He's a piece of work. So
unintentionally, like the funniest person.
I know he just rolled out.
Yeah.
I've watched. Now America's going to turn it around and win, because they're I think they're struggling. So okay, and he's with Kaya, right? Who's like, I guess, like a great golfer too. Right?
Yeah. I think she's got a golf scholarship. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, she's amazing. So okay, so let's get back to Major League Baseball. What surprises you as we come down the stretch as somebody who's, knows a boatload about baseball, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are you looking at where you're like, wow, I did not see that coming. And America, when this is on center stage, is going to have the opportunity to enjoy this.
How in the world did the Mets mess this up? How did this get so out of hand? Because like there is no way that team should be 4 games over 500, 5 games over 500. There is no way with how talented they are and how much payroll they have.
Yeah.
$300+ million, and they're fighting for a playoff spot with the Reds and the Diamondbacks, who the Diamondbacks might have lost half their team.
All right, so tell me how this happened.
I really don't know. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, if you're going to look at the stats and you're going to dig through the book, I'm sure it has to do with their starting pitching. Their starting pitching's been really bad since the All-Star break, maybe even before then. And their bullpen hadn't been much better because they've blown a ton of games. But like, for a lineup that has 4 All-Stars, 2 guys who are 30-30, and Pete Alonso, who could conceivably lead the league in RBI, like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest storyline. And what's going to happen, and is Detroit really going to blow it? Is Detroit really going to blow this? It would be a catastrophic collapse for a Detroit team that we all thought was really good.
All right, let's go. I want to get your final thoughts on baseball and a couple more things. When this whole thing is over, who's won the World Series and why? And why should people watch too?
Oh man, I don't know, dude. The way that the bracket breaks out right now, if you look at it with 3 games left to go, is that like Seattle has a pretty easy route to the ALCS. And if Seattle continues to hit, they have great starting pitching, amazing starting pitching. You want to talk about a storyline that a lot of people don't know about? Watch Seattle's starting pitching. They have some dogs, and their bullpen is excellent. So I think it's going to be Seattle and the Yankees in the ALCS. I think it is. And I think the Dodgers are going to make the NLCS. And I think the other side of the bracket is like the San Diego side. So it's like the Dodgers, the Mets, and Philly, I think it is.
Dude, it's got to be Philly, man.
I love Philly's team, but I think Philly has to get past the Dodgers in the DS to get to the CS. Anyway, I think it's Philly and the winner of New York and Seattle. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby. Get the Lenny Dykstra on.
Now we're talking. Okay.
There we go.
So tell me how.
Red looks much better on you than the white and blue.
As a guy who grew up out in Philadelphia, right outside, and who 2 months ago put a couple shekels on the Phillies to win the World Series, how can the Phillies make this happen for the first time since 2008?
Yes. And if the Phillies and Yankees play in the World Series, that'd be kind of cool because they would
kind of amazing.
Yeah, it'd be super cool. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. And you can't overthink it. You got to go game at a time.
How bad is the Wheeler thing gonna impact them?
Man, I don't really know. But Wheeler is a beast, and losing him sucks. I think the way that they win it, the tangible way they win it, is they gotta get quality innings from Nola, Sanchez, and Suarez. The three big starters.
Yeah.
They have to get good pitching because their bullpen is good now, and Duran makes a huge difference in the 9th inning. He is somebody they've never had. Like, he is locked down. They didn't have him in 22, 23 last year. They didn't have that. They were relying on a bunch of guys that were like, meh. Duran is legit. Duran is legit.
Every time I say we, because I'm a Phil's guy. Every time we've tried to break through, that has been the Achilles heel.
Literally, Craig Kimbrell is the one reason you didn't win the World Series 2 years ago.
Look, I don't even want to talk about it. So let's talk about your Steelers.
Yeah, man.
Aaron Rodgers. No, come on. I mean,
I know.
He's your quarterback, dude. This isn't August or July or June, and we're talking about what's he going to do. This is your quarterback, dude.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about Mike Tomlin Aaron Rodgers getting together saying, let's give everybody a big shit burger to eat. Like, come on. Like, what are your expectation levels as a fan?
Okay.
Give me a vibe check.
I think this should tell you everything you need to know. I bet the Vikings -2.5. That should tell you everything you need to know. Rodgers, according to PFF, is like the 35th of 36 quarterbacks that have taken a snap this year. The only one he's better than is Bo Nix, who's been horrific. Rodgers is the worst quarterback in football under pressure. Brian Flores brings the most pressure in the whole league. So I just think that like Rodgers can't really move, obviously. Can't really move. The offensive line is horrific, truly horrific. And the defense is maybe fraudulent. So like we have a recipe for it's gonna do the same thing that happens every year with this team. Mike Tomlin just gonna find a way to get them to 9-8. They'll sneak into the playoffs. They get throttled by Buffalo or by Baltimore, by KC. They get throttled by the Chargers this year because the Chargers are good. And we'll all say like, oh, what a great job Mike Tomlin did. Oh, yeah, Mike Tomlin's the best. Mike Tomlin. What has Mike Tomlin won in 20 years? Nothing. Hasn't won a playoff game in 8-9 years? Stop.
Yeah, but he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, with Cowher's team.
Oh, I hate that. That drives me batshit when people say that.
I'm not a Mike Tomlin guy. I'm not a Mike Tomlin guy. I'm truly.
They didn't
give
Matt Rule Big 12 title. I don't want to hear it.
But look, though, Pete, how many times is it going to fall on somebody else? How many times is the underperforming going to fall on? Hold on, I got to think back. Randy Fichtner, Bruce Arians, who was aging LeBeau. LeBeau is old. He's 800. We can't trust him anymore. Matt Canada, who was before Canada? Some other schmuck. How many
Kevin
times?
Gilbride.
That's right. How many times is it gonna fall on someone else before it's like, okay, we truly need to wipe the slate clean and look at this from a different perspective? Because at the end of the day, 9-8, get into the playoffs, get throttled by a good team is the exact same in every fan's book as being 4-12. Because where do you get it the same at the end of the day? Playing golf. And that's not Steeler history. That's not Steeler.
Is there a chance that Rodgers gets benched at some point? Like, is he
No,
playing at that?
no, dude, it'd have to be so bad. I mean, it'd have to be like Steelers lose 6-7 in a row bad.
Okay.
Which I don't think is going to happen. They'll be a 500 team. It'd be fine. Whatever.
Has Shelley acted differently since you guys got engaged?
No, dude, it's been worse, actually. It's been worse if you really want to know.
What do you mean? How has it been worse? How is she? I mean, she's got to be so excited.
Yeah, excitement doesn't even live in that girl's blood anymore. You kidding me?
Dude, I saw a picture of Jenny Swafford, her daughter. Her daughter's like, I mean, she's like a grown woman.
Bro, it's crazy that
this is old school.
all my fiance's nieces and nephews and all of their friends and their children are just like grown now.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show me how long Shelly and I have been together. It'll be 9 years. It is 9 years. It already passed 9 years. So it's like I used to watch her nieces and nephews like roller skate around her mother's house, and now they're like in college. And I'm just like, where did my life go? I'm 31.
Is your dad watching any football, or is he done? Is he watching the Jets? Former New York police officer.
I don't know, dude. Like, I don't think my dad doesn't really care about like that. My dad texts me every morning now about the Yankees. My dad texted me this morning at 9:00. He's like, tough customer on the mound tonight for the Birds, like something like that,
Walter Picht. Are your parents still in Queens?
Yeah, they just got the tree. My mom and dad's cement in the front yard or in the stoop is all frigged up because this big tree that they keep calling the city about to remove, the city just like won't remove it. And they call and the city puts them on this list and all this, that, the other. And they're like, I guess you can't cut the tree down without the city's approval or whatever. My mom and dad, their concrete though is like buckled. So if somebody trips and falls, my mom and dad are liable. So my mom had some guys out on Wednesday to break the tree roots, break the concrete, redo the concrete nice. So she's been texting me pictures for the past 24 hours. Like,
Doesn't your dad have a direct line to Eric Adams?
oh, stop. Don't even get my dad started on Eric Adams.
Dude, what's going to happen if that young man Mondavi is elected? Or I don't know how to say his name, and I'm not trying to be a prick, but like, seriously, are people kind of spooked in the city about that? My uncle Marty,
I think the
taxpayer is not pumped.
I don't really know, dude. I mean, there are for sure, like, the way I put it like this, right? All these young people that come and move to New York and they think New York is this, they think New York is that. They're not really New Yorkers. They come, they live in Manhattan, they walk all over, they think it's great, da-da-da-da-da-da. All nose in the air. Those are the kind of people that like love Mamdani. New Yorkers who like have lived there forever and the families lived there forever are spooked. So there you go. But there's more of these people that came out of nowhere, coming from all different kinds of, coming from all across America, this and that. They come to live in Manhattan. They think it's great. They buy a shoebox for $4,000 a month. Like they think like, oh yeah, this is great. Government run grocery stores. It's going to end up great. New Yorkers are like really just a little worried.
That's most PC I think I've ever heard you. So
yeah, well,
I appreciate it. So a couple other things before we get you out of here. The state of television news. I have been, I'm sitting here. I'm in Christie's Place in Flower Mound. I'm in the DFW, so I see WFAA, the news station in Dallas, right here.
Yeah.
On the TV behind me. I've been underwhelmed by TV news. I feel like when you and I, for people who don't know, Nick and I worked together in Monroe, Louisiana. Nick left and went to Louisville. I left and went to Waco, and then life goes on. But like it is a terribly underwhelming product right now, and I'm curious to see how much longer you think it has.
Man, I do not know. That is a great question. I could talk to you for probably hours about this because what happened here recently is a pretty huge deal. So here in Louisville, the company that owns Wave Television, Gray.
Yeah, that's Gray.
Gray. We used to work for Gray, right?
Yeah.
Bought Block Communications, which is the company that owns WDRB, the Fox station here. So WDRB is probably the number one station here, but it's kind of weird because we don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know if the news stations are going to merge, if this is going to become a 3-station market, or if they're going to keep WDRB. We're all kind of like wondering what's going to happen over here. There's a lot of uncertainty, but I mean, for sure, folks are going to lose their job, right? I mean, it seems inevitable. And it just goes to show that like Louisville used to be a place as a mid-major market where people would go and stay their whole careers.
Yeah.
But now Louisville is even a place where people come out of college, stay for 2 years and dip.
It's crazy.
And like, it just feels like the product is so bad. And people don't know how to ask questions anymore. We get a whole lot of tell me about or talk to me about this, which is not a question. People are not listening when like people speak and the follow-ups just don't make any sense, or there's not a follow-up at all. I just think like the product is so bad. And really, I don't think they care. That's the thing.
No.
I don't think the companies care. The companies care about making money.
The companies don't care. The news directors are put in precarious positions because, like
it's
you
tough
and I saw,
spots, bro.
they got to manage payroll and schedule and make sure people are coming to work, right? More so than anything editorial. And then I think there is, TV news was always about serving people, right? We were lucky enough. I had the guy who directs Monday Night Football, Artie Kemner, a legend, was on our show earlier this week, and he said it's about serving people. Like Monday Night Football is about like we want to serve the people, right? Give them information that in a football regard keeps them entertained and interested in something that's compelling and newsworthy. For local media, it's like you're supposed to serve the viewer, keep them safe, and let them know what's going on and what's important in their lives happening around them. And there's no desire to do that on a local news level in like 80% of the markets in the country.
Dude, I completely agree. I think
stations, I should say.
I really think it comes down, and now we're like, here we are, societal. But like, I think people are insanely selfish nowadays, and I think that's really kind of it. I don't care about my community. I don't care about this, that, the other. Like, I care about myself. And maybe I'm wrong, but I definitely didn't grow up in that way. my neighborhood, I grew up in a city of 8.5 million people, but like my little neighborhood, we all are caring about each other. We all know what each other's up to. We're all keeping each other safe, That don't happen anymore, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a microcosm of that. And like I love to story tell, Pete. Like I love telling stories. And you watch some of these reporters nowadays that are putting this stuff on the news. It's like, where is the dedication to the craft? Where is the effort? Where is the push to be better? And it just seems like it's not there.
Well, and look, and there is something to be said for how they load up these kids nowadays.
For
right?
sure, for sure. No one's
like
teaching anybody anything. Yeah,
they're not teaching anybody anything. You got 100 jobs right out of college, like if you're an MMJ reporter, and it's overwhelming. And at the end of the day, I'll never forget Bob Walters, our old news director, came in after somebody called in sick for our morning show. And I remember I was like, hey, Bob, like, how'd you think it went? He's like, well, we got this show on the air. And I remember thinking, like, is that the standard?
Yeah,
like,
right. The standard is the standard. That's Mike Tomlin, baby.
And like, that was 2015. And it certainly hasn't gotten better since then. And that's not a knock on Bob. Bob is like a newsy guy, right? He's a news hound. Like, he got in this business to tell the truth and to let people know exactly what was going on and to ask questions. And now as a news director, he's just like, let me make sure everybody is here, right?
Yeah,
and,
you're right.
and like,
God forbid everyone shows up to work today.
Oh my God. But it's it's from the top down. All right, you got to go. I got to let you go.
Nah, I'm chilling. All right, wait, hold on. Let's
what do you think about Ryan Clark?
Stop. Goodbye. If we're gonna talk Ryan Clark, I'm done. That guy is a potato head to the max. Potato head.
I think Ryan Clark. I was thinking about this because I know he's a Steeler. I think Ryan Clark is the kind of, like, you and I have been with our significant others for a long time now, but you longer than me. Ryan Clark is the guy. I think if you knew Ryan Clark and he lived in your neighborhood or he played on a team of yours, you would love Ryan Clark.
Probably.
Like, Ryan Clark on television is this whole other person. It's like the person you date that has an Instagram profile.
Yeah.
I do not like this person, but then you hang with them and you're like, yo, you're cool. Why are you doing that?
Yeah. Like they have a Finsta. They have a Finsta for the fake Instagram. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I got two things left. One, do you watch Big Brother at all?
No.
Oh, dude, Big Brother's been great. Yeah, dude, that's our boy who got me into it. Yeah. But yeah, the end of Big Brother is this weekend, so I want to see who wins. And two, I really think this is just like a prevailing football thought.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers are going to mess a lot of people's days up come January.
I agree.
I think if you are a football investor, that's what I call them these days, and you don't have any investments on the LA Chargers, you may want to start it before they're 9-0 and looking at the 1 seed.
That is a great, and it's funny. My brother Michael is a pretty big sports fan and a pretty hardcore football fan, but he doesn't call me very often to discuss topics. And he called me today or this week to talk about Jim Harbaugh. And like, yo, is this guy like, he was just like, this guy is amazing. Like, we all know that, right?
He's like, football. He's football Rain Man, dude.
He's 5 for 5, dude. Like San Diego, not San Diego State, San Diego, Stanford, the 49ers, Michigan, and now the Chargers. Like, yo, that's impressive, dude. And he came within this much from winning that Super Bowl with the 49ers. He won the national title with Michigan. Those two other programs were shit shows when he got
if the
there.
Lights don't go out in where was that? If the lights
New
don't
Orleans.
go out.
Beyonce, the halftime, honestly, it was so amazing. Beyonce's halftime. I'll never forget my father, old school guy, born in 1939, not exactly a pop culture consumer. He watched that Beyonce halftime show and he turned to me and he said, hey, Jay-Z, he's a good guy, right? Like, he wanted to make sure Beyonce was okay. He loved that performance so much. And to me, that's like, but then after that performance, the lights went out and it did shift everything about that game. But that is a great point, Nick. That was a great point about the Chargers. Do you think they have what it takes to go to like the AFC Championship?
Of course they do. Why not? Schedule's soft. They're already 3-game. They're 3-0, right? They're 3-0.
Yeah.
All division teams. They have a major leg up on the West. Their schedule for the next like 3 or 4 weeks is cupcake. They could end up 7, 8, 9-0, and like it might run through LA. Now, granted, playing in LA is a lot easier than going to Buffalo in January because that sucks.
Will their crowd ultimately let them down? Like,
no, because maybe because if the AFC title game is in LA, you know, they're going to be a bunch of crazy people from Western New York that fly over to LA and get into there. But you know, I mean, look, here's the thing: if you are a gambler, if you're a sports gambler and you do play futures, like we didn't really see this. We didn't see this necessarily coming from the Chargers. So before they waxed the Giants, they got a couple soft games coming up after the Giants. They're going to need to take an unexpected L to get their value down to probably where it was at the beginning of the year. You know, if Dart comes in, plays good, and they sneak a win, that would be a time to jump in on the Chargers. But they have especially if KC loses to Baltimore this weekend, the Chargers could have a 4-game lead in the division because with the tiebreaker in hand at KC.
You got Harbaugh at the controls.
Yeah, I mean, and they lost Slater, which sucks, their left tackle. But I mean, my boy Joe Alt-Delete has come in and filled in nice and admirably. If you like offensive line play, you watch Joe Alt just piss on defensive linemen, and it's just nothing gets you going like watching Joe Alt.
Joe Alt, right?
ALT, yeah.
Yeah, his dad was an offensive lineman. His dad was amazing.
Runs in the family, baby.
Well, you know, there was a supermodel named Carol Alt, but I don't no relation there. All right, Nick, you've said it all. I love you.
Let's chat before playoffs. Let's chat before playoffs. Huh?
Yeah, well, you know what's awesome about this too? We have gotten our stuff together here at the Rogue Media Network, and we've been putting for this week. You know, the YouTube show is doing really well, but we kind of like got away from posting our podcasts. So, but now the podcasts are getting put up, and this is an amazing conversation to absorb in a podcast environment because people don't have to see me change jerseys. And you're really handsome, but it's something you can drive around in the car and listen to. So I hope to do this more often with you, buddy.
Let's get after it. Go Yankees.
Lil Bird told me something's going on at Bark the Folk. See you later, Nick.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
Nick Picht, dude. He's a great friend, a brother almost, and an even better dude. I love Nick, and that was a lot of fun. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We're out of here. Scotty Swingler, love you. Text me if you need anything for this green and gold extravaganza you have tomorrow. Make sure you check that out. And then Scotty and I are going to be back at it all next week, leading up to the Baylor game, which I'm going to call. So we'll probably be rich with Baylor material. Thanks so much to, Tom Silverstein and Chris Visser just delivered the goods. And Visser had me, honestly, one last thing is that I have the Ryder Cup on in the background. Right now, America is not in good shape. And I did know this coming in, talking to my boy Murph, my golf expert, main man, that the Europeans love this alternate play phase of the Ryder Cup. But as Visser pointed out to me, this is a little more troubling than I think we had expected or have seen in past years or past Ryder Cups this early on. So that's going to be something that's fun to watch over the weekend as well. You know where to find us, and you'll be finding us back right here on the Pete Sousa Show on Monday. For now, have a great weekend.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is start.
Sousa Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.